I'm sorry, Colonel, but the flight is overbooked and our system has automatically reassigned your seat. You're on standby. We can't guarantee you'll get on this flight. The gate agent's voice was flat, devoid of empathy, her eyes already scanning for the next passenger. Colonel James Jim Morrison, 78, a Medal of Honor recipient, stood clutching his boarding pass, the one that clearly showed a confirmed seat. He was on his way to his granddaughter's Air Force Academy graduation. Standby? But this ticket was purchased 6 months ago. My family is waiting. The agent just shrugged. Next in line, please. 9 minutes later, as the final boarding call echoed, a line of imposing black SUVs, lights suddenly flashing, rolled onto the tarmac, forming an unyielding barrier in front of the waiting aircraft. Colonel James Jim Morrison, USAF retired, was a man who had touched the sky and walked through hell. His slight stoop and the tremor in his hands were deceptive. Beneath the gentle wear of 78 years was a core of tempered steel. He had flown perilous reconnaissance missions over enemy territory, his F-4 Phantom riddled with flak, his courage unwavering. His Medal of Honor, earned for an act of valor so extraordinary it bordered on the unbelievable, landing his crippled bomber to save his crew despite being grievously wounded himself, was not something he displayed or spoke of. It lived in a small, unassuming case in his study, a quiet testament. He lived a simple life now in Millerville, Ohio, his days filled with tending his late wife Martha's rose garden and mentoring young cadets at the local Civil Air Patrol Squadron. Today was a day he had anticipated with immense pride. His eldest granddaughter, Sarah, was graduating from the Air Force Academy, following in his footsteps. He wouldn't miss it for the world. His family had pooled their resources to buy him a direct, confirmed ticket on American Eagle Airlines, ensuring he'd arrive with plenty of time and minimal stress. He arrived at the bustling Cleveland Hopkins International Airport early, his small carry-on containing his dress uniform for the ceremony, neatly pressed. He navigated check-in and security with the quiet efficiency of a seasoned traveler. His original boarding pass for Flight 1847 to Colorado Springs clutched in his hand, seat 12A window. He looked forward to watching the countryside unfold beneath him, a peaceful journey to a joyful occasion. Gate C14 was a scene of controlled chaos. Flight 1847 was clearly popular, the waiting area packed. The two gate agents, a harried-looking woman named Jennifer and a younger, seemingly overwhelmed man named Marcus, were dealing with a stream of passengers. An announcement crackled over the PA. Attention passengers for American Eagle Flight 1847. Due to a last-minute equipment substitution with a smaller aircraft, this flight is now overbooked. We are seeking volunteers to take a later flight in exchange for a travel voucher and hotel accommodation. Jim's heart sank a little. He'd heard these announcements before. He approached the counter when priority boarding for uniformed military was called, presenting his boarding pass and military retiree ID. Jennifer, the senior agent, took his pass, scanned it, and frowned. Her fingers flew across the keyboard. "Colonel Morrison," she said, her voice tight with stress, not looking up. "There seems to be an issue with your seat assignment due to the aircraft change and the overbooked situation." "An issue?" Jim asked calmly. "My seat 12A was confirmed." Jennifer finally looked up, her expression one of strained patience. "Yes, sir, it was. But with the smaller aircraft, we've had to reallocate seating. The flight is completely full, and unfortunately, our system has automatically moved several passengers to standby status based on check-in time and fare class. You are now on the standby list." She handed him a new, flimsy slip of paper that read standby. Jim was incredulous. "But my ticket was purchased months ago. I'm traveling to my granddaughter's Air Force Academy graduation. It's today? I must be on this flight." His voice, though quiet, held a note of urgency. Jennifer sighed, the sound of 1,000 passenger complaints compressed into one weary exhalation. "Sir, I understand it's important to you, but the flight is full. Overbooked. Many people have important reasons to travel." She didn't acknowledge his granddaughter's graduation, didn't ask for details. He was just another problem to be managed. "Our system automatically prioritizes based on a number of factors, and unfortunately, your booking code has resulted in standby status in this overbooked scenario." "My booking code," Jim repeated, trying to keep his voice even. This is a fully paid, confirmed ticket, and I am a retired Air Force colonel, a Medal of Honor recipient, traveling to an official Air Force event. He rarely, if ever, mentioned the medal, but the desperation of the situation, the thought of missing Sarah's moment, compelled him. He discreetly showed her the small official DoD ID card that identified Medal of Honor recipients for travel and other courtesies. Jennifer glanced at it, then back at her screen, unimpressed. "Sir, with all due respect," she said, her tone implying little respect at all. "Many passengers have distinguished backgrounds. The computer doesn't differentiate for past honors when it comes to operational reassignments. It's an algorithm. You are on standby. If a seat opens up due to no-shows, we will call your name. Otherwise, we can try to get you on the next available flight, which unfortunately isn't until tomorrow morning." Tomorrow morning would be too late. The graduation was this afternoon. Marcus, the younger agent, looked deeply uncomfortable, shifting his weight and avoiding eye contact with Jim. He seemed to want to say something, but was clearly intimidated by Jennifer's rigid adherence to her script. "There must be something you can do," Jim pressed, his voice now edged with rare desperation. "Isn't there a manager I can speak to? Someone who can override this?" Jennifer shook her head. "I am the lead agent here, sir, and there are no seats. It's out of my hands. Now, if you'll please step aside, we need to continue boarding." She gestured for the next passenger in line, effectively dismissing him. Jim felt a cold wave of despair wash over him. He had faced down enemy MiGs with more chance of success than he seemed to have against this unyielding airline algorithm and indifferent agent. He stepped back, the flimsy standby pass feeling like a cruel joke in his hand. He found an empty seat near the window overlooking the tarmac, watching as passengers for Flight 1847 began to board the aircraft parked at the gate. His aircraft, the one that was supposed to take him to Sarah. As Jim sat there, the weight of disappointment crushing, he remembered a small, almost forgotten detail. Years ago, after a particularly frustrating travel experience during unofficial military business, a sympathetic high-ranking Pentagon official had given him a discreet contact card. It wasn't for customer service. It was a direct line to the Department of Defense's Distinguished Visitor and Protocol Liaison Office, a small, powerful unit tasked with facilitating travel and resolving logistical snags for very high-level military personnel and recipients of the nation's highest honors, especially when their travel was tied to official or semi-official duties. He'd never used it, never imagined needing to for personal travel. But missing his granddaughter's Air Force graduation because an airline algorithm had erased his confirmed seat felt like more than just a personal inconvenience. It felt like a profound failure of respect. With fumbling fingers, he retrieved the worn card from a hidden compartment in his wallet. The number was for a 24/7 duty officer. He dialed. The phone was answered on the first ring by a crisp, professional voice. "Protocol Liaison, Duty Officer Chin speaking." Jim identified himself, Colonel James Morrison, Medal of Honor recipient, and briefly, factually explained his situation. Confirmed ticket, overbooked flight due to equipment change, bumped to standby by American Eagle at Gate C-14. Urgent need to reach Colorado Springs for his granddaughter's Air Force Academy graduation that same day. Gate agent unresponsive. Officer Chen listened intently, the only sound the quiet tap of a keyboard. Colonel Morrison. "Understood, sir. Please confirm your flight number and current location at the gate, and the name of the airline, please." Jim provided the details. "Colonel, please remain at Gate C-14. Do not leave the gate area. This is being escalated immediately to flag officer level within DoD liaison and with the FAA. You will be contacted directly, or the situation will be resolved on-site within 10 minutes. Please accept our apologies for this unacceptable situation, sir." The line disconnected. Jim wasn't sure what to expect. Flag officer level? FAA? It sounded almost too dramatic. He watched as the last few passengers boarded Flight 1847. The gate agents were preparing to close the door. His hope dwindled. 7 minutes passed. Then 8. The jet bridge began to retract. Precisely 9 minutes after Jim Morrison's call, just as the boarding door to Flight 1847 slammed shut, and the ground crew began to remove the wheel chocks. A new kind of activity erupted on the tarmac, visible through the large gate windows. Not the usual dance of baggage handlers and fuel trucks. This was different. 3 sleek black Chevy Suburbans, the kind favored by federal agencies, with tinted windows and discreet government plates, drove directly onto the active runway apron, lights flashing. Not emergency strobes, but official, authoritative pulses. They moved with speed and precision that scattered startled ground crew and brought a baggage cart to a screeching halt. The SUVs didn't head for a terminal. They drove directly toward the American Eagle aircraft at Gate C-14, forming a neat, unyielding line that physically blocked its path from pushing back. Simultaneously, airport security vehicles began converging, their own lights now flashing, their occupants clearly bewildered by this unscheduled, high-level intrusion onto a secure area. The pilot of Flight 1847, visible in the cockpit, was on his radio, his expression one of utter confusion and then dawning alarm. Inside the terminal at Gate C-14, Jennifer and Marcus stared out the window, mouths agape. Passengers already on the plane peered out, murmuring, pointing. The quiet hum of the airport was replaced by electric tension. From the lead SUV, 2 men in dark suits and earpieces emerged. They didn't approach the aircraft. Instead, they walked briskly toward the gate entrance, their movements all business. One spoke urgently into his wrist communicator. The airport's PA system, which had been playing boarding announcements for other flights, suddenly crackled. American Eagle Gate C-14, please hold your aircraft. American Eagle Gate C-14, hold your aircraft. Federal authorities are on site. Await instructions. The 2 men in suits entered the gate area, their eyes scanning the room until they located Colonel Morrison. They approached him respectfully. Colonel Morrison? Special Agent Rodriguez, Department of Defense Protocol Office. Please come with us, sir. We have this sorted. Before Jim could fully react, another figure, even more impactful, appeared at the gate, having clearly bypassed all normal airport channels. It was Mr. William Hayes, the president and CEO of American Eagle Airlines. He looked pale, disheveled, and profoundly stressed. His tie askew, his usually immaculate suit rumpled as if he'd been summoned from an important meeting with extreme prejudice. He was flanked by the airport director and several senior American Eagle executives, all looking equally grim. Mr. Hayes ignored his own staff, ignored the DoD agents, and strode directly to Colonel Morrison. Colonel Morrison, Hayes began, his voice tight with a mixture of apology and controlled fury directed elsewhere. Sir, I have just been made aware, in no uncertain terms, by a rather persuasive 4-star general at the Pentagon, of the monumental, unforgivable lapse in judgment and protocol that occurred at this gate regarding your travel today. He shot a venomous glare toward Jennifer and Marcus, who both looked as if they wanted the floor to swallow them. There are no excuses. None. That you, a recipient of the Medal of Honor, traveling to honor your granddaughter's service, were treated with such bureaucratic indifference and disrespect by my airline is a stain I will personally ensure is scrubbed clean. He took a deep breath. Flight 1847 is being held for you, Colonel. You will be on that flight. You will be in first class. If we have to remove a paying passenger or one of my own executives who might be on board, it will be done. Your original seat, or better, will be yours. Colonel Morrison was personally escorted onto Flight 1847 by Mr. Hayes himself, along with the 2 DoD agents. A first-class seat was indeed made available. The flight attendants, now fully aware of who their passenger was, treated him with a level of deference that bordered on reverence. The black SUVs remained on the tarmac until the aircraft door was closed and the jet bridge reconnected. Only then did they silently, swiftly depart. Flight 1847 took off 45 minutes late, the other passengers buzzing with speculation, many having pieced together the identity of the elderly man who had caused such a high-level intervention. Colonel Morrison made it to Sarah's graduation with time to spare. He pinned her new lieutenant bars on her shoulders with trembling, proud hands. The airport ordeal was already fading into the background, overshadowed by the joy of the moment. He never sought special treatment, only the quiet dignity he accorded others. But on that day, a system designed for profit and algorithms was forcefully reminded, by a few quiet phone calls and some very visible black SUVs, that some honors and some individuals operate on a protocol all their own, one that demands unwavering respect. Because when the nation bestows its highest honor, it comes with an implicit promise that the recipient's dignity will be fiercely protected, even if it means stopping an airline in its tracks.